Hello. So let's talk about the Feuermann cadenza for the Haydn D major concerto. I don't play this cadenza, so this is just from listening to it and studying it. I think first of all, what I see from your video is that you're playing everything very solidly, very well, very virtuosically, and what's missing from me is the element of contrast and character, the different characters that you have in the main movement that come back in the cadenza, and with everything that is all these gestures and flourishes that are very virtuosic. It's great when you hear a cadenza if you actually don't notice, oh, this is so virtuosic. You just notice, oh, that's really beautiful, that has such character, I really understand the contrast between these characters, and not necessarily, wow, look at those fast fingers. That should be a nice side effect. So one thing is just to watch how you're using the bow. When you start, I'm not going to play the beginning of this because I've never played it, so I can't play it properly, but think about how you want this phrase to develop this. Okay, I'm not playing it with the double stops, obviously. So with the double stops, that would be my goal. It would be to phrase it so that it goes forward like that. A little bit like Strauss, a little bit Don Juan-esque, you know? And then when you have it in minor, again, maybe try practicing it. You could vary the way you play your chords also, because a lot of the time you're breaking the chords, and so you could make them gentler in some places, maybe, or maybe the beginning should be, sorry, my wolf is out of control right now, and then the gentler one more, this in piano, that'll make it easier for you to continue with a gentler bow, like, and make your bow make the phrase that you want in these passages, okay? Then I think this is very good how you play right, this whole passage. There's this up here, the double stops are good. Then when you have this passage here, this I think could be much more improvisatory, and maybe the way to do that is to just take very small segments of passages and let yourself improvise with them. So just take this passage here and then see if you can make that flow in different ways. Maybe starting faster, getting slower, starting slower, getting faster in the middle, and then see what makes sense to you. See what feels natural. Okay, and then let's same thing goes from the scale downwards could be a lot more free. Take your time with it and just feel that you're going into a minor key. And this sounds hurried to me. This really take your time to make sure the harmonics speak, because right now it's a little too fast, so the effect of the harmonic doesn't come through. Just okay, you can use that. Take the time to really pronounce, and that is part of your expression then. And also this all that doesn't have to be fast, and you could really just take the tempo down a notch so that you can get it more dolce, more singing in the bow arm. Then these next passages that are coming up when you're in the higher octave. hear this whole passage as one chord. So you really make it clear, this is one harmony, this whole thing. And this is another. So you keep those two ideas separate and unified. I mean, each chord for itself unified. Because right now it sounds like these are all separate ideas. And that's part of what makes it a little heavy and not so flowing. So to practice that, see if you can let go of the idea that the left hand should always have perfect intonation and concentrate on the flow here. You could also practice, I need to look at what your fingering was again, but whatever your fingering is, just practice the first note of each group. And see if you can get that smooth in your bow arm, even smoother than what I just played now. So but in tune. Okay, no, but honestly, take the time to do it without putting pressure on your left hand to be in tune, because this is the whole point. You want to find the relaxation, the freedom, the flow in your bow arm, and you can't do that if you're always concentrating on having it perfectly in tune in the left hand as well. Okay, so also you can just take it slower until you feel you can play it effortlessly in tune. Something like that, all right? So, and then consider the relationship between those two chords. This, and then you have another dominant seventh. Think about the dynamic relationship between those three chords. And even if you do make crescendo, diminuendo on one chord, try to keep that, try to keep each chord for itself having its own integrity and relationship to the other chords. I hope you understand what I mean, so that the harmonic relationships are clear. That's also what will make a cadenza more exciting. Okay, and then this part here, I think, this just seems too fast to me. I think this kind of passage, this, it's a little bit like in the Beethoven violin concerto cadenza. It needs a little time, you know. You want to hear each voice, and you want, as an audience member, I want to think, wow, he's playing two voices on a string instrument. That's really cool. So let that be more impressive. It sounds like you're hurrying through it a little bit, and see if you can bring out the top line as a real singing melody. So you can practice just the top line first, and then knowing you've done all these steps already, but while you're doing this, see if you can completely relax your bow arm. Really, really let it go, and make the line of the phrase your highest priority. Okay, not the intonation for now. And then you can go back and do the intonation separately, very, very slowly, and maybe with different bowings, just so you're not getting a stiff bow arm, because if you're holding long enough for you to be able to find the intonation, then it could be that your arm is going to get stiff. Okay, so scroll down the music here. And then I think you can differentiate in this part between, right, you have the dolce singing part, and then that can be faster. I think you don't have to play everything in the same tempo. You can have these little flourishes a little bit faster, and keep the rest of it slow and singing. Then, of course, I leave it up to you to decide what you do with these passages. That, I have to say, would be nice if it were a little bit fast and virtuosic. But keep it slow for now. See if you can find the virtuosic flourish in a slower tempo. And that means being light and easy here. Relaxing the shoulder, right, and working a little bit more with the fingers for each. So that you aren't starting and stopping with the whole arm, because that can make it heavy. Okay, then moving on. Okay, then dramatically speaking, you get to this diminished chord. There, I think you can do more of a dramatic, let's say, preparation for. Can't read the notes that far away. You could start this accelerando from a slower tempo, and then it will just automatically be a little bit more impressive. You start relatively fast, and then you can't really get much faster than that. And so much of a cadenza, making it impressive and exciting, is just finding the right proportions, the right relationships from one tempo to the next. So you could start really much slower and then build up momentum, and then it feels much more exciting to go forward, even just a little bit. Whereas if you start faster, then it's no longer exciting to get a little bit faster than that. Okay, then there was, I think that you just played a wrong note, but just to make sure, I think you played a B there. Just check on that notes to make sure, okay? Your tenths are really very good, and then I think after that is I think you get softer and softer and really make each of those notes just pearly, bum, ding, bum, and maybe a little bit slower also for effect. Otherwise, you don't really notice that you're that high. And also, the very last run, I would think about structuring the accelerando so that you are not already too fast by the time you get to the octaves. So you're I wouldn't get any faster than that, so that then you can proceed with the octaves at a humane tempo and not really super fast. And then here, I definitely would take a little break between, right? And then you can practice that just by falling. But even in performance, you definitely can take a little break there. Just without the little slide that I did to help me find it. But I think that's musically really acceptable. Okay, I hope this helps a little bit, and I will see you in a few hours.